There's a kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone. It comes from being with someone who just isn't really there. They text you, they show up, they laugh with you. Maybe they even say they care. But when it comes to depth, real connection, vulnerability, emotional presence, it feels like you're reaching into empty space. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Emotional unavailability isn't always obvious. It doesn't always look like coldness or rejection. Sometimes it looks like almost open, almost committed, almost loving, but never fully there. And that almost is what keeps people stuck. Emotional unavailability exists across all ages, all genders, all backgrounds. A young person avoiding vulnerability because they're afraid of getting hurt. A middle-aged person carrying years of unresolved baggage. An older person who has simply learned to shut things down because life taught them that feeling too much comes with consequences. It doesn't discriminate, but it always leaves a trail. The truth is, emotionally unavailable people aren't always bad people. In fact, many of them are deeply wounded people. People who learned at some point that being open wasn't safe. Maybe they grew up in environments where emotions were ignored or punished. Maybe they experienced betrayal that taught them trust is dangerous. Maybe they were taught that strength means silence. So they adapted. They built walls. They learned to detach. They mastered the art of being present without being vulnerable. And over time, it became who they are. But here's where it gets deeper. Emotional unavailability isn't just about them. It's also about the people who are drawn to them. Because if you find yourself constantly attracting emotionally unavailable people, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Why does this feel familiar? Not comfortable. Familiar. Because often we don't choose what's best for us. We choose what we recognize. If you grew up feeling unseen, you may chase people who can't fully see you. If you had to earn love, you may be drawn to people who make you work for it. If emotional distance was normal, closeness might actually feel uncomfortable. So you end up in cycles. You meet someone, there's chemistry, there's potential, but then something feels off. They avoid deeper conversations. They shut down when things get real. They keep you at arm's length, just enough to keep you wanting more. And instead of walking away, you lean in. You try harder. You give more. You wait longer, hoping that if you just love them enough, they'll open up. But that's the trap. Because, emotional unavailability is not something you can fix for someone else. You just can't love someone into being ready. And, you can't heal wounds they refuse to face. You can't force depth where there is fear. The longer you try, the more you lose yourself in the process. You start questioning your worth. You start wondering what you're doing wrong. You start shrinking your needs just to keep them around. Until one day you realize you've been emotionally available for two people, while receiving only half of what you deserve. That's the cost. Now, here's the part most people don't want to hear. Sometimes emotional unavailability isn't just in the people you choose, it's in you too. Not in the same way, but in a quieter, more hidden way. Because, staying in these situations often means avoiding something within yourself. Maybe it's the fear of being truly seen. Maybe it's the fear of rejection from someone who is fully present. Or perhaps it's the discomfort of real intimacy, where there are no excuses, no chasing, just connection. Because real connection requires you to be open too. And that's honestly terrifying. It means you can't hide behind almost. It means you have to show up fully. It means you have to risk being hurt without the safety net of emotional distance. So sometimes choosing unavailable people becomes a way to avoid that risk. It keeps love just out of reach, close enough to feel, but far enough to avoid full vulnerability. But that kind of connection will never fulfill you. Because deep down you don't want almost. You want to be seen. You want to be understood. You want to be met fully, honestly, and without emotional barriers. And you deserve that. But getting there requires a shift. It means recognizing the patterns, not just in others, but in yourself. It means setting boundaries instead of making excuses. It means walking away from potential and choosing reality. It means valuing emotional presence over emotional intensity. Because intensity can be misleading. Someone can make you feel everything without ever truly being there for you. But presence, that's different. Presence is consistent, it's open, it's willing to go deep, even when it's uncomfortable. And that's what real connection is built on. So the next time you find yourself drawn to someone who feels just out of reach, pause. Ask yourself, am I chasing connection or repeating a pattern? Because the truth about emotional unavailability is this. It doesn't just break your heart. It teaches you to accept less than you deserve, until you decide you won't anymore.